Hello and welcome. I'm Kendra Fitzgerald. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today we have a workout to address lower back crankiness. So I want to give you some tools and techniques that you can go to when your lower back just starts feeling yucky. So what you'll need for the workout today is either a foam roller or a blanket. And if you have a blanket, you'll want to roll it up like this. So if you need to do that, go ahead and pause the video and roll it up. Either works great. All right, so we're going to start with an assessment first. I'd like for you to come over onto all fours, and we're going to take a cat and cow. So hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. We're going to inhale, open your chest, look forward, and exhale, tuck the toes, rounding back. And just take a moment to notice where you feel tightness, where you feel stuck. Exhale, rounding back. This is just an assessment, no judgment. Just to see where you are. Exhale, round back. Notice if there is a spot in your back that feels like it can't move as much. Maybe the upper back, maybe the mid back, maybe lower back. Let's do one more here. Inhale and exhale, round back. Great. Coming back to the center, take a child's pose. Bring your knees all the way together. Sit back on your heels as much as you can. Bring your heels back and your forehead down towards the floor. Again, I want you to notice what you feel in terms of tightness in your back and your hips. Take a few deep breaths here. Notice any tightness or stuckness. One more breath. Again, just an assessment. Great. And then coming back up onto all fours, we'll separate the knees underneath the hips. Tuck the toes under. We're going to take glute rock backs. So what I want you to do is take a neutral spine. As you sit back, send your tailbone up towards the ceiling. So we're not rounding our back like this. We're sending the tailbone up and back. Inhale, come back forward, and then exhale, go all the way back. Now you might have to wiggle into this a little bit, especially if you feel some tightness in the back of your hips. But what we're doing is encouraging some release in the back of the pelvis, because oftentimes tightness in the back of the pelvis can lead to lower back pain. Exhale, go back. Just take a few more reps here. Sending that tailbone high, really opening up through the back of the pelvis. Feel free to wiggle your tail like you're a happy puppy. One more all the way back. Great. Good. Coming back onto all fours. Now bring your knees back together. We're going to take your blanket or your foam roller. So I'm going to show you with the blanket because this is a little bit nicer than the foam roller. It's a bit more forgiving. So we're going to take the blanket on the top of your thighs, and you're going to drape your ribs over the blanket and come down into child's pose. Now notice that I didn't shove it underneath my ribs. This is not what we want. We want the ribs to be kind of constricted by the blanket and the foam roller. Good. So you're going to breathe here, and with the pressure of the blanket on your ribs, I want you to think about expanding through your back body. We're just going to stay here. If you'd like to take a block underneath your forehead or a pillow underneath your forehead, you can. I'm going to show you, if you're in this position, go ahead and stay here. I'm going to show you what this looks like with the foam roller. The same thing with the foam roller. Again, not as forgiving, so it's a little hard, but you're going to get more release from the back body, the more pressure you can put on your rib cage. Now, if you have osteoporosis, you want to go with caution here. So if you have a lot of blankets, you could put that up and keep your spine nice and straight. Good. Come back to your child's pose, big breaths into your back. And exhale. Good. Allowing the back body to fully expand. And then let's stay here long enough that your back muscles can actually release. So when you're breathing in, having that compression on the front of the ribs allows us to focus the breath on the lower aspect of the back ribs. The longer you stay here, the more your brain realizes that you're safe and it's okay to let go. You might even start to feel like the muscles around your spine relax, the muscles around your hips relax. It'll be completely different for everyone. One more breath here. And exhale. Great. Walk the hands back underneath your shoulders. Great. And then we're going to come onto our backs. And this is one of the keys that I absolutely love for lower back pain. This is my go-to, especially if you have pain in the mornings. When you wake up, your back is just really cranky. You can do this in bed too. Rest your hands on the floor, bring your feet flat to the floor. Bring your feet a little further away from your hips, and then let your heels be heavy in the floor. We're going to pull back on those heels like you're scrubbing them against the mat. So we're not picking up the foot, we're just pulling it back along the mat. You'll feel your hamstrings engage, and let your pelvis tip back, almost like you're tipping a bowl of soup towards your chest. And then feel your hamstrings turn on, and then let your lower back relax. So you're just gonna hold here, breathe here. Take a minute. You can put your hands on your hamstrings, see if one is working more than the other. If one is, try to access and get the other one that's not working as much to work a little bit more. Hold here for about 5 breaths. Just pulling back on those hamstrings. Good. Keeping the hips tilting back and releasing in the lower back. Good. And what you might start to notice is that your deep core starts to turn on too, which is kind of cool. It's a good side effect. But what we're aiming for is that the back muscles are able to relax and release. They're getting sent the signal that it's okay to release. Hold here for 1 more breath. You're still pulling back on those heels. Relax your shoulders. And then release it, let it go. Good. Now, if you have pain on one side of your back versus the other, here's the technique for that. You're going to straighten your legs all the way out. And whichever side you're having pain on, you're going to bend that knee a little bit and then pull back on just that heel. Same thing here, tip your pelvis back, use that hamstring of your bent leg to glide your hips under and create space in your lower back. It's a nice gentle reset for those back muscles to soften and let go. Good, 1 more breath here. Good. If you'd like to do both, you can, but if you have pain on one side versus the other, I say just do the one that has pain. All right, so if you want to do both, you can go ahead and do both, and then release and let it go. All right, bring your feet back to the floor. We're going to come back over to all fours, and we are going to test your cat and cow and your child's pose. Now, hands on the floor, knees underneath your hips. We're going to test the cat and cow and see how it feels in your back. So inhale, open, and exhale, round all the way back. Notice if you have more space. Inhale, open, and exhale, round back. Good. 1 more here. Inhale, open, and exhale, round back. Good. Coming back to neutral, and let's go back to child's pose. Knees together, sit all the way back. Forehead down towards the floor. You can put it on a block if it doesn't reach the floor, and then just check in. See how your back feels. See if it feels a little more open, either in the mid back, in the lower back, or even in your neck and shoulders. Good. 1 more breath in, and exhale. Good. Walk the hands up. Fantastic. I want to show you a really quick way to address acute crankiness in your lower back in case you've been standing a lot one day or you wake up and your back is just really bothering you. There are 2 different things you can do. We're using a chair. So the first one is if you've been standing a lot and you really feel like your low back is bothering you, we're going to take your left foot up to a chair. It doesn't have to be this high. It can also be a step or a stool. You're going to put the foot on the chair, press your foot down, and then pull back on that heel. So your tailbone is dropping down, you're creating a lot of space here, you're creating space in your lower back, and you're getting a little connection here. We're just gonna hold. So you're pressing down into the chair with your heel, using that hamstring to pull back and realigning that pelvis, which creates more space in your low back. So hold here for about 5 to 10 breaths. You can even use a little deep core work here. Make sure that underside of your leg is working. And then you can release it. Come on out. And then switch sides. If your whole back is really cranky, I suggest doing both sides, but if you have one side that's more cranky than the other, you can do just that one. Whatever feels good. So right foot is on the chair. You're going to press down through your heels and then drop your tailbone down. Pull back on that heel like you're going to pull that chair toward you. So the hamstring is going to fire. Your tailbone drops down. You get a little core engagement. So let's hold here for 5 or 10 breaths. You might even get a little shakiness, and that's okay. I know it's not a hard movement, but sometimes when you have low back pain, it's because we're not using these muscles very much. When we start to turn them on, they get really tired, wobbly. Good. One more breath. Keep pulling that heel back like you're trying to pull the chair towards your back leg. Good. And then release. And then just see how it feels. See if that gave you a little bit of release in your lower back. And if it did, do it some more. All right, I'm going to show you how to do this in a chair in case you're in a car or you have a lot of lower back pain when you're driving. So we're going to sit here on the edge of the chair. Same thing here. We're going to press the heels down into the floor and then pull back on the heels. Tuck your tailbone under a little bit. So you're gliding under. Feel the heels pulling back, almost like you had peanut butter on your feet. You were trying to smear it on the floor. And your hamstrings are engaging. Your tailbone is tucked under. You might feel a little deep core engagement. And we're just going to breathe here. About 5 or 10 breaths. The goal is to let these back muscles fully relax and release. Good. 2 more breaths here. Keep constant pressure on the heels pulling back. Those hamstrings engaged. You can even check in right and left side. Good. And then come on out of it. So again, if you have pain on one side versus the other, you can just do one side. So say you have pain on your right side, you've got SI joint pain or lower back pain, you can lift your right toes up and pull back. Just do the right side. See if that helps you reset some of the tightness on that right side. All right, and then you can do the same for the left. I hope some of these tools have been helpful for you and you can use them time and time again. Thanks for joining me.